Today, my friends, I bring to you the tale of the Pirate Lord and the Witch's Curse. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. I have for you today another official tale of the world of Dominaria from this fantastic book. I absolutely love these stories. So today, as I have mentioned, we will be talking about the... No, camera, why? Oh, no. You never know what's going to happen. It's the Witch's Curse. So, the Pirate Lord, we have to start there. We have to set everything up for you. How did he become the Pirate Lord? So, the deal is, the Pirate Lord's name is Samal. And he started out as an everyday pirate. I shouldn't say everyday pirate. More ruthless than your everyday pirate. He was a vicious man. The kind of guy that when in battle, let's say they're raiding another ship and one of his shipmates ends up getting run through by somebody, he's the kind of guy who would push that person up the sword blade just to get at the guy who had gotten him. Like the pain of his comrades, whatever. At a certain point, you're just meat. It doesn't matter to Samal. Samal cares only about Samal. So, how this all comes to be is Samal is actually in one of three pirate raiding groups. There are three pirate ships. Our story starts with three pirate ships converging on a merchant vessel, okay? Now, what happened was the pirates all ended up swarming on this, and they acted as a group to take over this ship. So there was a big, massive battle going on. A lot of pirates got wiped out. The defenders on the ship actually went down and destroyed all the supplies on the ship. So some of them ran down to the bottom and scuttled the supplies. So they smashed open the food barrels. They smashed open and destroyed all the fresh water. And this is very important when you're out to sea. If you don't have the resources you need to survive, you're in a lot of trouble. So we have a situation where these three pirate groups have invaded this merchant vessel. Now, one of the pirate groups has actually lost its ship. Their ship got set on fire by the defenders, and their ship is gone. So they're down to two pirate ships left over and the merchant vessel. Now, in the middle of the night, another of the pirates groups basically just take off. They take off with a giant chest of pearls and leave without doing any kind of treasure divvying, which leaves the rest of the pirates very, very unhappy because at that time in Dominaria, pearls were the most valuable gems you get. They're worth a ransom. So it's a king's ransom, I should say. So the pirates are noticeably aggrieved by the fact that these pearls have been taken off. So now we've got one pirate ship left and the merchant vessel. And we've got the point where most of the pirates are on this big merchant vessel staying on there. But the food supply, the water supply is dangerously low, okay? So the captain of the merchant vessel now decides, who is a pirate captain, obviously, not the original. The original crew is gone at this point. They've been executed. So the pirate captain who's in charge of this vessel that Samal is on. Understand that Samal was not part of the crew that got burned. Samal was not in the part of the crew that left. Samal is still there with the rest of the pirates. He's the main focus of our story. One of the main focuses. So the pirate captain of the ship that Samal was on said that they were going to have to make for the Isle of Tyree. And at that, all the pirates were like, oh no. It is a known fact that there is a curse around the Isle of Tyree, and that it specifically targets pirates, slave traders, all those sort of people. So them going and trying to find this island with the cursed witch who hates pirates is not much of a better prospect, but they've reached the point where they have no drinkable water, almost no drinkable water. Everybody is on quarter rations. So they're getting ready to set sail for the Isle of Tyree. Now, Samal is stuck on this ship at the time. He has a broken arm from the ensuing battle that happened all the time, and he is trying to sort out what the best course of action is. It's all just Samal must survive in his mentality. He's a pirate through and through. So we reach this situation where they set course for the Isle of Tyree. Now, as they are setting out this way, And remember, there's still the merchant ship and there's still one side pirate ship together traveling as a unit, essentially. So they're traveling in to the cursed waters around Tyree. So what happens at first is the captain comes up from underneath and he goes up and he cuffs the guy who's standing at the wheel. He's like, "What are you doing? We're so off course." And the guy who's working was like, "What are you talking about? We're fine." But so what happened was illusions were playing on the navigator's mind. And so what they started to do was they had all the pirates stand along the edge of the ship to make sure they stayed on course. So everyone was to call out whenever he got off course. Now this worked at first, but the closer and closer they got to the Isle of Tyree, the worse it got. The more men started getting distracted. And then on top of that, grand illusions started to show up in the sky. Now you have to understand that they're on like no food, basically, almost no water. And so their minds are starting to play tricks on them. They're in a sense of deprivation. So on top of the illusions and the situation, their minds aren't quite where they need to be. So some of them are literally just looking off at it like a fireworks show. So you have all these people who are dazed and confused, and they spend days and days, like they don't have this time, and they're losing it out in the water trying to get to this island. So all these illusions come until this gigantic illusion of a sea serpent shows up, right? And then, oh, wait, no, it's not an illusion, as it rips down and starts chewing people apart and ripping them apart in this intense battle between the sea serpent and all these pirates. The sea serpent smashes up the boat, just smashes the crap out of it, and is attacking people, just going nuts, right? So what happens is they end up managing to slay the sea serpent, and they cut it up for meat and they take its blood to drink, but its blood is really salty, so it unfortunately doesn't really fit the bill. It's not good enough for what they need. But at this point, Samal can see that the writing is on the wall. He knows that they're not getting to the Isle of Tyree, and literally his only chance at survival is to try and take off with the small pirate vessel that's still left there. So under the guise of nightfall, him and a few of his selected other really just cutthroat, backstabby friends got together, went and silenced all the watch, basically just went around all the guards that were keeping watch on the ship, silenced them, threw them off the side. The captain actually came up at the wrong moment, and Samal ended him too. But he considered it a mercy. He's like, it's actually a quicker death than your crew's gonna get, because he knew that everybody left on that boat was doomed. So basically, he was already plotting out what lies he was gonna tell to the people on the pirate ship there, so he could get going, and then what lies he was gonna tell to the people when he returned ashore as well. Always planning outwards. So what happens is Samal is successful in escaping. He does actually pull it off. On the way back to the mainland, he actually happens across a private like yacht, like a luxury vessel, and they board it, torture the crap out of the people on there, and find a massive cache of diamonds. Not diamonds, sorry. No, not diamonds. Better for them, diamonds. Pearls, that's what I meant. They find a cache of pearls, which, as I said, is a massive fortune in this time and place. So, using that and his ruthless nature, Samal slowly but surely became known as Samal the Razor, the most feared and deadly pirate captain in existence, all right? So he wanted revenge. He wanted to get revenge on the Witch of Tyree. He was totally driven by this. Now, what you have to understand is the Witch of Tyree is not a bad person at all. In fact, all she's doing is defending her tribal folk. The Isle of Tyree was like a paradise, essentially, where everybody lived. They had enough. They had enough of everything, right? So aside from like somebody getting randomly injured or something, it was totally just a natural paradise. Like think of some like jungle tribe living completely disconnected from the rest of society in their own encapsulated area where they have everything sorted out and there's no real major problems, just little societal ones that have to be sorted out. So the Isle of Tyree was like that. It was essentially a little like kind of tribal utopia. But pirates found the place and they started to use it as a home base because all the all the people there were so welcoming. Like they when people showed up, they would bring them food and welcome them into the village. Like it was a great place for pirates to go. These people didn't even have concepts of what pirates were, right? So the pirates could just go and use it as a home base. Now, obviously, knowing the type of people pirates are and those kind of scumbags, what happened is eventually you end up with slave traders at the island. They start, like the pirates start taking people, the slave traders find out where they're getting these people, and they come and get them because the people were so docile. They didn't have tribal defenders. They didn't come out and attack or do anything like that. In fact, when the people started getting abducted and taken away, all the tribal people did was pull in further and further away from the coastline. But all that did was allow basically pirates and other people to set up along the beaches and entrench themselves further in the island. So as you can imagine, this problem became worse and worse and was decimating the population of Tyree. Now, lucky for them, the witch was born. Just some confluence events came together. She was born with magnificent magical gifts. And being quite the opposite of a pirate, she was dedicated to her people and dedicated to defending them. She was really their only defense, but clearly incredibly powerful from the way that we outlined. So these curses were all laid by her after the fact of a whole bunch of her population being swiped away. So she gets this all that is her role. She's not a bad person in the story. I just wanted to make sure that we're clear on this. So Samal the Razor, who is now the pirate lord in the story that we're talking about, he is dead set on vengeance. And he comes up with, admittedly, a very, very clever plan. So basically, him and his most trusted mate, they have them a bunch of sorcery laid on them, and then they have the crap kicked out of them by their own crew. Like Samal and his first mate get pummeled down by them, and then they're thrown adrift into the water near where a vessel from Tyree had moored. Essentially, the people on Tyrese had sent out had sent out a ship, and it had gone to the mainland to do some trading and things like that. So what they did was take advantage of that by throwing these people all beaten out into the water near that ship. So these people, being the good people they are, help the people out of the water. They start telling about all these slave traders and stuff and how they heard that they're trying to get to a place called Tyree and blah, blah, blah. So this obviously really freaks out the individuals from the Tyree Island, and they keep the people on their ship. They bring Samal and his first mate onto the ship under the guise of the magic and all beat up or whatever, and they're tending to him, taking care of him, and sure enough, they bring him back to the island to speak to this mistress, because they made sure that they were so savagely beaten that they could barely talk. So Samal passed out for days, right? Like, they went full tilt with this plan. It's pretty impressive. So they get to the island. They actually manage to get themselves on to the island of Tyree. Part of it was because they used special octopus ink and magic to give Samal's first mate a very, very, very virulent and uncurable by non-magical means virus/disease. So it was like, we're gonna take your friend to Tyree so that the witch can help, because they're good people, right? They're good people, and that's being taken advantage of. So sure enough, they bring the first mate in, and he's laying there in the bed. Now, Samal is like hunched over him, worried about it, going, "Can you please bring the witch? Can you please bring the witch to help?" So, sure enough, they go and they summon the witch. Now, Samal, being no fool, made sure that he had a device on him that would indicate when there was a strong spellcaster nearby. It's a device that will only resonate when someone with extreme magical power is close by. So he has this on his presence, and then basically, on his person, I should say, and then he feels the presence of it resonating when the witch enters the room, so he knows for sure who it is. At that moment, as soon as she's in the room, he pulls out this powder and he flings it across the room. And this powder doesn't do anything until it comes in contact with the first mate. And all of a sudden it starts to dissolve all the magical illness that's on him, and he snaps awake. And at the same time, it causes a brilliant light to flare out into the room. So quickly, like a lightning strike, Samal zips around the room with the razor, and he just opens the arteries of everybody in the room except for the witch. And then he's at her throat with the blade, going, "If you say anything magically at all, you're done." So they're on the island of Tyree now, obviously. They're surrounded by all these people who are obviously going to swarm them and come after them. So what they do is Samal keeps the blade to her throat and says, we're just going to escape. We're leaving. We're going down to the water. We're going to get our boat and go. Do not bother us, and we will release her, having no intention to do so. But that's what he told the populace to get them to stay back. So, being the careful and fearful people that they are, they did indeed stay back, while Samal and his first mate took the witch all the way down to the water's edge. Now, they had drugged her in the meantime. Samal had brought very powerful and potent drugs to keep her in a stupor. Unfortunately for him, her power was already starting to overwhelm those drugs just by the time he had gotten to the shore. So he's trying to figure out a way to lower her into the boat that doesn't make it obviously they're actually leaving with her. They want to make it seem like they're putting her on the shore. So he manages to get the witch down into the boat, but at that point, she opens up her eyes and is like, you need to release me. And he's like, I couldn't agree more. And that's when he takes the blade and he nearly just chops her, almost her head off completely. And then he grabs her head and just slams it under the water while all of her lifeblood just pours boiling out into the water. And she's jerking and shaking until she stops moving. And then the Witch of Tyree is no more. So then Samal's next plan, because he's vicious, right? It's not just revenge on Tyree. He plans to enslave or destroy the entire island as revenge. This was just the beginning. And so to that effect, he has his entire pirate fleet waiting on standby. And he has a bag, and inside this bag, there are a bunch of magical scrolls. And when he puts the scrolls in the water, the sigils that are on there all dissolve into the water and blast out in a massive wave of summoning. Each one had the different captain's name of all the different parts of his fleet, and they all got drawn in. Now, an interesting thing happened when that call got blasted out. It came back to the shore. It went out, but it also came back to the shore where the witch's lifeblood was. And all of a sudden, it started getting louder and reinforcing. And it went out faster and stronger. And it actually made the pirate fleet come in quicker, which should have kind of maybe, let Samal know something was up. So they all end up at this island, right? And the closer that the pirate fleet got to the island, the more the waters and storms raged, but not in front of them, behind them, you see. So what was happening, it was like a noose drawing in, bringing them all to the island. And so the witch's final curse, her lifeblood, is actually in the entirety of the water. She laid a final resting curse using the sigils, using the magic that Samal put into the water. She cursed him and everyone involved with the operation, to the degree where Samal, all those pirates, all of his pirate lords, and all of the descendants on them are all now cursed and trapped, living on the island of Tyree. If any of them try to leave, the storms will rage up and smash their ships to bits, just absolutely destroy them. And the crazier part is, let's say there's one survivor and he's out on some driftwood or something like that, and other pirates or anybody else sees him and rescues that individual and brings him onto their boat. That boat is now afflicted by the curse. They have only one choice: race to the island of Tyree or face imminent destruction. There is literally no way around that. It's so epic. And the way that this entire story is framed is really cool as well, because the story is told from one regular pirate to another. The story starts out with a pirate seeing somebody in a tiny little on driftwood floating by, or in a little boat floating by, and was like, oh, maybe that's somebody we can get a ransom for. I'm gonna go and try and get that broad in. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he felt a blade at his throat from another pirate who said, if you make even a single sound, I will slit your throat. And the other pirate was like, whoa, and he pulls out his blade like he thought they were gonna have to fight. And then the first pirate explained the whole story of the curse, and it's like, you see, if we had brought him on board, we would be cursed and damned too. I find that to be such an epic story. I was not expecting the curse at the end to be a curse that trapped them on the island. What a lovely twist. So, my friends, let me know what you think of this tale, and we shall check in with the sixth color of magic.
To be like Mike, you must put nuts in your mouth. Together, we are the sixth color of magic.
And now it's time to roll the golden scroll. The people who are helping me out on Patreon and also through channel memberships. Either or qualifies them to be part of the Golden Lords of Purple. And we have 2 new channel members. Billy, welcome to membership, boy. I know you're already a Golden Lord. Thanks for getting on board with that membership as well. You made Papa Purple happy. And to the other member, the new member, Pavel Nazarov. Thank you as well. You guys are in the scroll where you belong. That being said, what's next? Would you like some more magical lores and stories? Or would you like to pop on over to my other channel and see what's hopping on over there? Hail to the king, baby!